Suzuza. Arise for Ghana, of patron of the land, for weather and seek your future. Development our goal, from vision to victory, the NDC shall lead. Stable Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity, from vision to victory, the NDC shall lead. Stable Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity. Edem Agbana. Victory is our land. Victory is our land. JJ is a winner. Arise for Ghana, of the truck of the land. Forward and secure future. Development our goal. From vision to victory, the NDC shall lead. Stable Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity. From vision to victory, the NDC shall lead. Stable Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity. From vision to victory, the NDC shall lead. Stable Democrat.
Hello, good evening, viewers, once again, and welcome to the show. We are on the ground once again, that we come with your way every evening on Thursdays to share ideas with you on what is happening exactly, as people need to have their perspectives coming from the National Democratic Congress front. And I am very privileged today, once again, to have all of you with us. Wherever you are, share the link so that many more, your brothers, your sisters, wherever they are, will be able to join us. This evening, we are very privileged that we will be hosting no other person but the National Deputy Youth Organizer of the National Democratic Congress, who is coming to share with us the perspectives of the National Democratic Congress on the issues of digitalization. And today as well, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama ended up with his thank you tour, and then he had a thank Ghana. We will take a brief look into it and then ask ourselves the essence of this thank you tour. Is it an opportunity for the NDC to start on the ground with their campaign for 2024, or it is just an opportunity for His Excellency the President, the former President, to say thank you to the good people of the country for bringing us from a 1 million deficit in the 2016 election to close to just about 100 and something, and which we all believe, and all the people of the country still believe, that the NDC won the election, the 2020 elections. So wherever you are, once again, we are live on Ben Wayo GH on all our media platforms. So wherever you are, please share the link with us and then be part of the show. And we're very privileged once again that we welcome onto this show no other person but our own National Deputy Youth Organizer, Edem Agbana, who is going to share the perspective of the National Democratic Congress on these issues. Comrade Edem, you're most welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. And can you hear me?
Yes, you are loud and clear.
Thank you very much, and good evening to everyone listening to us, especially members of the National Democratic Congress, from branch level to national. We say thank you, and I'm grateful to you for the opportunity to be on your show this evening.
Wonderful. We are much privileged to have you as well. I think just for opening comments, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama just ended up the entire thank you tour of the country, and I think he had a thank you Ghana speech as well. Principally, what has been the motivation for that thank you tour of His Excellency the President?
Let me begin by saying that tomorrow, Friday, we'll be marking the 1 year passing of the founder of our great party, His Excellency Flight Lieutenant Jeremiah Jerry John Rawlings, and former President of the Republic. He passed away exactly a year ago. So tomorrow there will be a number of activities to honor him. And so on that solemn note, we pray that the Lord continues to keep his soul safe, and the ideals, the principles, the convictions, the vision, and the philosophy that he stood for and died for should be protected. And that can only be done when the NDC is in power. And so we all have to pick lessons from his life and move on with it. Having said that, I think that we had a former president and former flag bearer, and I prefer to say incoming president. He has had a very, very successful thank you tour. The essence of the tour was simply to thank the good people of Ghana for coming out in their numbers and voting for the NDC. We may not have won the ultimate by being at the seat of government, but from 106 seats in parliament, Ghanaians gave us 137 seats. And today we have a speaker of parliament who is even from our party. Very remarkable. Despite all the machinations, the rigging, the ballot stuffing and everything, clearly the result shows that the good people of Ghana, majority of the people, voted massively for the NDC, despite the vote buying and all of those things. And so, as a party that is connected to the people, as a party that is concerned about our people, we decided to go all out and thank them. And the former president led it together with his running mates and other national and party executives across all levels. And so it was a very successful tour to thank the good people of Ghana. We also used the opportunity to let Ghanaians have hope, because when we lost the election and we went to court seeking for the mandate to be overturned, but unfortunately, we all know what happened. One of the things that happened was that a lot of people lost hope. And so young people in this country began what they call fix the country movement, agitating, asking that the presidency or the government of Akufo-Addo should solve the issues that affect their daily living. And so, Jerome, what happened was that there's a lot of despair. NAPCO recruits, drivers, everybody is happy, is unhappy, everybody is angry, everybody is living in a state of hopelessness. So President Mahama and the NDC decided that let's also use the opportunity to ignite hope and let the people understand that despite all of these things, let's not lose hope in our country. And so yesterday he ended it well with that powerful lecture or speech he gave at Kempinski. So all in all, it has been a very successful tour, very successful beyond our imagination. And for me, it also signifies the beginning of the reorganization process. Now we'll go back to the branches, start the reorganization, and we are hopeful that by 2024, the NDC will be in a position to recapture power and put this country back on the path of progress and development.
Okay, that's a wonderful thing. But then I heard some of the MPP shouting. I don't know whether they're actually MPP or just from whatever commentary they wanted to pass. Some of them are saying that the former president is on the campaign to become the next flag bearer of the NDC, and not that thank you to.
Jerome, if President Mahama wants to become flag bearer of the NDC, he doesn't need to hide behind a thank you tour to do that. Any way possible he can contest, any means he can run on his own to go and contest and speak to the NDC delegates, he can do it. And so what is this issue about he's hiding behind, as if he is so not wanted by the NDC that he needed to hide behind a certain program designed by his office, blah, blah, blah. And there is nothing wrong, even if it was a thank you tour, for him to resell himself to the people. Why is the MPP bothered? This is a man you have said so many things against, and you have said that he's never going to be president again. Then you should be happy we are bringing him back. Look, the truth is that President Mahama remains the biggest threat to the NPP. Because despite everything they did to him in 2016, 2020, look, we saw what happened. But for this rigging, and then President Mahama is now saying that, look, we have learned bitter lessons. We know how to now get and protect our votes. And so we'll do that. And so whether it was even a campaign by President Mahama, that is none of their business. We in the NDC know that it is a needed tour. And we have done that to reshape our narrative and put the regions back in a good condition for the reorganization to begin. President Mahama does not need to hide behind anything, any program, any event to sell himself. He's the most popular person in the NDC today. He's the most accepted candidate in the NDC. I want us to see democracy. Let others come and contest. I am one of the people who feel that we should not be going with the narrative that President Mahama should not be contested or he should go unopposed. Everybody is allowed to come. But we know that even before we go into the elections, majority of the NDC faithfuls, and we saw what happened after 2016. We all saw all the things they said about him and all of that when we went to the polls. He got over 90% of the votes. And so we are not afraid of a contest. We are only saying that let the right things be done. And President Mahama does not need to hide behind any program to launch his political career. He's way above that. And so the propagandists, that cheap propaganda, they can go to hell with it. It is none of their business.
You know, but His Excellency made a statement at a point in time. I think that was in after the 2016 election, where he said posterity was going to be the best judge. And I believe he made a similar statement. Maybe we'll just take a standby for the producer so that we will listen to him again. Then I'll come back to you, and then we'll take off from there.
I'd always thought the posterity that was to judge me was very far away. As I've said before, I'll allow history to be the judge of how I've served my nation. How well I have done my part in running my lap of that relay. What that verdict will ultimately be, I cannot say. I can only say that I have done my best, giving my all, and done so with the best of intentions for my God and my country. Our country, Ghana. This is why I stand here today, Mr. Speaker, holding the baton of leadership, prepared to pass it on with pride, goodwill, and determination to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and to ask all Ghanaians to cheer him on as he runs his portion of this important relay for Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I thank you, I thank members of this House, and I thank the citizens of Ghana for the opportunity you have given me. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless our beloved homeland, Ghana. I thank you. I'd always thought the posterity that was to judge me was very far away. But it has come too soon under this government's watch. I do not seek vindication. How can I seek vindication when the impact of this government's mismanagement of the economy has been so grave on the people of Ghana, whom I hold very dear? My task is to continue to give you hope. My task is to help our party, the NDC, to reorganize. My task is to put proper and enduring systems in place so that we work together in unity to win the elections of 2024 at the polling stations and in a manner that no mortal human being or man or woman can interfere with. My task is also to continue to serve our continent and our world. I'm currently working together with an independent global health panel through which I've advocated for the establishment of a global public health convention to ensure adequate pandemic preparedness and response. Another pandemic will be a disaster, particularly if it catches us unprepared like COVID-19 did.
Okay. Honorable Edem, welcome back. So we are back here. His Excellency the President says that he has not seen vindication. But between you and I think he is more than a prophet. Well, he said definitely that prosperity was going to be the best judge. And today here we are. What do you have to say about this?
Well, President Mahama made those comments because he trusted in the kind of work he did as president. He had so much confidence in the fact that he gave out his all, sacrificed everything. And here we are today. His words are playing back, and Ghanaians continue to see that indeed he is being vindicated by posterity. The lies against him, the malice, the propaganda, and all the things, today we are seeing some even are coming out apologizing to him for lying about him. Again, the things he said about how he was managing the economy, the things that the opposition candidate Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia said at the time, none, I mean, none of those issues that they spoke about are they able to solve today. For example, fuel pricing. When President Mahama, under President Mahama, fuel was about 14 Ghana cedis per gallon. They said it was insensitive, it was too much. When they come, they will reduce it. Today, we are buying fuel for 34 Ghana cedis or more. And so, President Mahama, indeed, the vindication, he thought it was going to take some time for Ghanaians to realize that he was doing his best for this country. But as we speak, in no less a time, we are beginning to realize that. And it's because of the many things that are happening. So, Jerome, if you ask me, I will tell you simply that the NDC under President Mahama, we did our best. Yes, there are some aspects of governance we wish we could have done better because it's a human institution. But when you compare our records, you compare sincerity, you compare the kind of leadership that President Mahama provided to what the NPP is doing, you will realize that the NPP is clearly a mess. And that is why I agree with President Mahama when he said the NPP government, the Akufo-Addo government, are our common national tragedy. They are a pandemic, actually, they are. And so there is the need for us to work hard together, knowing that Ghanaians have seen the truth. But power will not just come easily like that. We need to fight for it. And so that is what all of us must put our energies into.
Wonderful. Before we get out of this, there is still a comment that someone just passed that if JM did very well, he was very honest with the people. There were several things that he stood up and told the people the truth. You also made a similar statement that he was forthcoming with the truth with the citizens of the country. Are we therefore saying that the current president, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, has not been truthful with the Ghanaian population?
I don't need to I don't need to actually say it. The people of Ghana themselves have seen that President Akufo-Addo is a blatant liar. For example, President Akufo-Addo told us in 2016 that when he comes, he was going to make sure he protects illegal miners. In fact, in Obuasi, when he mounted the platform, he told the small-scale miners or galamseyers that the NDC is running a propaganda that he, President Akufo-Addo, or he, Akufo-Addo, when he becomes president, he was going to cancel Galamsey. You remember that video?
Yeah, at
And he told
Obuasi.
us that he has no such intentions. But when he comes, he would rather come to give them certificates and make their work legal. When he came, in the interest of his international illegal miners, the Chinese, who when they caught them, they allowed them to go, he launched a war on the people who were into small-scale mining. Lives were lost, machines were seized. Those that they kept, they shared among themselves like the way they shared Kelewele. Those that they took, some they bent them. Yes, over 500 excavators seized and shared like Kelewele. No pricing. What has happened to all of those issues? So one, that makes him a liar. Two, President Akufo-Addo told us that he will not run a family and friends government. That audio, that video is still there for verification. And when he came, he has appointed 86 members of his family into government. Most of the key positions in cabinet are being held by people who are his family and friends. And so that again makes Akufo-Addo a liar. And he said he was going to protect the public purse. Today, as we are speaking, he is always jetting off with the most expensive, most luxurious private jets. Meanwhile, the presidential jet has been left there unattended to. At his will, that is where the likes of Sawa Bruni told us they sit in. They use our presidential jet. And the president continued to pay 15,000 pounds an hour to rent private jets. And in some instances, even more. Now, there are many of these things I can mention to point to the fact that Akufo-Addo as president is a blatant liar. And so he doesn't speak the truth. But President Mahama, he was very honest to the people of Ghana. Look, every challenge, there was a time some of us, and I'm saying this on record, there was a time some of us in the party had problems with the style of President Mahama. Not because we didn't want the good for you, but we said, Mr. President, it's an election year. If you are very honest, too honest, sometimes the people may vote against us. And indeed it happened. But he said, no, I don't need to lie my way into office. I had to speak the truth. That is why when it came to issues of allowance payment to teacher trainees and nurses, when even almost all of us in the party were against, he said, no, let me tell the people the truth, that at this time, it wasn't ideal for us to pay it. And so the sincerity, the honesty of President Mahama has never been in doubt. But for the current government, we all know the kind of leaders that we have. Blatant liars, peddlers of falsehood, deceptive people, and all of that. So I don't even need to re-echo it. It's established. The people of Ghana themselves know. And I can give you a plethora. I can give you thousands of examples if you have time of days and ways that President Akufo-Addo lied. In fact, the very day he was sworn into office, he entered into the office with lies. Lies because plagiarism, which is not accepted. Look, in the academic sphere, plagiarism is considered one of the worst crimes, one
Yes,
of the worst crimes that you can ever commit. You have been spending, or you spent close to 40 years fighting to be president. It has always been his childhood ambition to be president. But you got the opportunity, and all you could tell the people of Ghana was to go and pick speeches from former presidents for other countries and put all together, come and read. And that is why when in the speech he said, you have to be citizens and not spectators, because it did not come from himself. It was not a speech coming from his inward spirit. Those who are citizens, he's chasing them. People are being assassinated, people are being and all of that. And the point must be made that the critics of this government are not safe. Even me, I don't feel safe. And so President Akufo-Addo has, as a person, as a president, has demonstrated that he's a big liar. To conclude, one of the things that President Akufo-Addo rode onto power with was the issue of fuel pricing. The video of President Akufo-Addo, then candidate Akufo-Addo, telling the good people of Ghana that maybe fuel prices no meteso and all of that. What has happened? See the number of times fuel prices have been increased even this year alone. And when you ask them, they will tell you lies that it is because of the pricing on the international market. That is not true. The pricing on the international market is not the reason why fuel prices are going up. It is the taxes that Akufo-Addo and his government have put onto the fuel prices build up, or the fuel price build up. Now, even if it was true that it was the international market, at the time he mounted the platform with the microphone, like he was a rap star or musician, pop star, as if he was singing the latest John Legend song, or Bruno Mars song to Sawa Bruni and Co. He indicated, didn't he know at the time, that international pricing was key in determining prices of fuel? Why was he play politics with it at the time? And so these are the people we have in government. They cannot be trusted, and we cannot have confidence in them. Jerome.
But you keep hammering. We are all aware of what is his name, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. He was making a lot of speeches as to how best the economy could be run, and NDC was not doing that. Fortunately, they won the election. They became they are now running the country, and we have no other person but a person who was giving the solution to the economic problems now as vice president of the country. So far, I think a lot of people believe that they have run the economy of the country better than the NDC, because he already gave the solution to the economic problem that we're facing. And worst of it all, he made us understand that as a deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, there was a lot of money in the system, and even to tie roads, we didn't need to go for loans. As we speak now, they haven't gone for any loan yet, but I understand they are even thinking of going back to IMF again. Isn't that a contradiction? They said they have not gone for loans, and the loans that they have gone for, they have been able to manage it in such a way that it is not affecting the economy of the country. Is it a contradiction, or that's the right thing?
Biggest contradiction. One, let me put on record that the Akufo-Addo government, under the leadership of Dr. Mahmoud Baumia as vice president and chairman of the economic advisory team, they have borrowed in excess of what any government since independence has borrowed. And so when you talk about borrowing, they have no right, no moral right to even comment. Because when you put from Kwame Nkrumah's time to President Mahama, the total amount borrowed, it is not up to what they have borrowed in 4 years. And the economy is still collapsing. Meanwhile, they are not supposed to borrow that, because before President Mahama left, the investments we made in the economy was reaping in a lot of revenue. And I'll give you an example. When the NDC came into office, we had only one oil field. One. So the whole talk about we discovered oil, we had only one. And so that one oil field, it was giving Ghana 90,000 barrels of oil on the average. 90,000 barrels a day on the average. I want people to take note of the figures that I'm mentioning. But before President Mahama left, we added Sankofa Field and 10 fields. These are 2 new oil fields by President Mahama and the NDC. And so what happened was that these 2 new oil fields have added to production, and these oil fields went on stream in January 2017, meaning we built it and they started producing. So we started seeing the benefit of it from January 2017. Now, because of those 2 new oil fields, Ghana gets in excess of 200,000 barrels of oil. 200,000 as compared to 90,000. Despite that, and all the other grants and monies that President Mahama left in the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund and all of that, the Heritage Fund, which we also left, with all of these monies, they still went ahead to borrow in excess of what any government borrowed from 1957 to 2016. And so, in terms of borrowing, so in terms of the management of the economy, clearly they have failed. Now, one would ask, why has Dr. Baumia become an overnight IT expert? It is because his comfort area, which used to be the economy, all the noise and the 170 questions that he set at the time, if we are to mark him with those same questions today, he will be such a terrible student that not even a KG would want to admit him, because all the 170 questions he asked the late vice president, he has failed to answer. We have even extra questions to ask him. Now, so in order to project himself, let's go into an area that maybe want to pretend the government is doing well. And so he chose the area of digitization. Meanwhile, even in that area, it cannot be their legacies. And I will give you some figures when we come to digitization conversation. But you see, the point is that when it comes to the economy, this government has been abysmal. Nothing works. Nothing seems to be working. Again, the issue of borrowing. Now, they are claiming that he knew, at the time he claimed that they knew that there was money at the Bank of Ghana. And the issue of going back to the IMF is rearing its head. Now, this is what happened. When the NPP came into power, the agreement the NDC had with the IMF was supposed to expire in April 2017. They went for extension. So technically, they have gone to the IMF.
Okay.
Because you criticized the agreement and said, oh, when you come, you are not going to be part. But when they came, they sought an extension, which was granted, which means that they have already gone to the IMF once. Now, after that phase, because of COVID and others, IMF and the World Bank could have pumped in a lot of grants, a lot of money into the economy. And yet, the economy is still struggling. Look at the exchange rates. Look at the basics of the economy. And the fundamentals are so weak. And so the point is that this government has failed when it comes to management of the economy. And so they cannot even talk about borrowing. Today, I was reading that they are now blaming some of the NDC for their inability to raise the necessary euro bonds. Why? Because they claim that we are fighting against LGBTQ rights. International community is not interested in sponsoring. That is a blatant lie. Because there are many countries, even in Europe, with some strict rules regarding LGBTQ, but they still go to the international market and they're able to raise funds. The world is no more interested in investing in you because they realize that Ghana lacks the credibility to manage the economy. You cannot be flying private jets, luxurious private jets at 15,000 pounds an hour. And they see these things in the air, they see these things in the media. Then you go back to them seeking for peanuts for development. Because they know that if they give you such loans or they invest in your economy, all they are doing is to invest in your lavish lifestyle. And we are told the president doesn't like to fly alone, at least according to Sewa Bruni. And so these are issues that are key to all of us that we must be interested in. So the world is not interested in investing in you because they realize that you are going to squander the money on your lavish expenditure. private jets here and there, and other things that are not bringing any benefits to this country. Gerald.
That is interesting. Very, very, very interesting. But we will get to that point. You made a statement about Dr. Bawumia's shift from economy into the area of IT. As we speak now, he claimed in the speech just a few days ago that for the past 8 years, the NDC in office, we didn't do anything. And I'm wondering, how did that happen? Because for where we all sit, the issue of the National Identification Authority, the NDC that set up the framework, if you move to the Accra Digital Center, it was under the NDC. So how come that he has the guts now to say that the NDC didn't do anything within the 8 years? Is that the NDC did not tell the story of what we did, or what could be the problem?
Well, let me tell you that when it comes to Dr. Bawumia, one thing is clear. He lacks the credibility to criticize the NDC. Dr. Bawumia has said several things, several lies that today they keep exposed. That is why people have actually changed his name to Bawulaya, because his name now resonates with lies. And so I am one of those who don't like to even give Dr. Bawumia that credence. How can he say the NDC did not do anything in 8 years? How can he even say that? When everything from infrastructure to the economy to educational sector and all of that, the achievements of the NDC are visible. They started by telling us that the Green Book was a book to contain pictures of whatever designs, just architects, and that they were not real representations. And when Felix Ofosu-Kwakye caught one of their deputy ministers and gave him the whole Green Book and said, point to which of these projects in the Green Book is not in reality. Akufo-Addo himself traveled on a road constructed by John Mahama to go and commission a project that John Mahama built, and said that everything in the Green Book is not real. So these people, you can see their narrative. They are just a people, a bunch of liars. And so Dr. Bawumia say we haven't done anything. It's not something we should even give credence to. But the records are there. Now, you have shifted to digitization because you think that the people of Ghana may not understand what digitization is. Let me give you an example. Dr. Bawumia takes credit for GPS, the Ghana Post GPS addressing system. What is that? It is basically an addressing system. Is that not it?
Yeah.
Now, but for the street naming, could that project be successful? The street naming is 96% of the addressing system, because when you take Google and you enter that you are going to this street, if the street was not named and properly mapped out by the John Mahama government, how would this internet show you that decipher or determine that this is a Jerome Road or this is Edem Agbana Street? Who did the street naming? It's the NDC. He takes credit for NIA and talks about Ghana card. Who brought the Ghana card? The transition from Kufuor through Mills and everything shows that the Ghana Card Act was passed in 2012. 2012 was president. NDC, John Mahama. 2013, we signed an agreement with Margins, the company that actually developed the system for the printing of the Ghana card. That is the same company that they are using. We signed a contract with them in 2013, and they developed, had gone through testing. 16 December 2016, their final test work was approved. And so if they started implementation in 2017, who takes the credit? What work did Dr. Bawumia and co do on the, So the point is that can never be true. We have everything to suggest, to prove that in 8 years, the NDC did better than any government in this Fourth Republic. The NDC did better in terms of infrastructure, education, social interventions, health systems, and all of that. The NDC has a better record, and we are not afraid of going on the debate with them in terms of comparing these records.
I think you actually seen how Dr. Bamia simply is drifting from his accolades as an economic messiah into the digitalization, which is the IT system. I think what you just said, His Excellency John Dramani had a similar rendition, I think, just recently. Maybe we could take a bite from that if the producer can let us listen to what His Excellency said, and thereafter, they will now go into the records of the issues of digitalization per the NDC government and what we put in place.
Yes.
It is quite amusing, though, that even as the economy faces these severe challenges requiring urgent action, those who have been responsible for the mess that we find ourselves in have attempted to make a transition from the self-styled economic messiahs of the very recent past to overnight IT champions. We are suddenly being told that the decades-old incremental progress that has been made in the ICT sector due to sound and consistent policy making spanning several governments, leading us to a point where they are being leveraged for convenient, efficient, and innovative service delivery and transactions, is the brainchild of some people whose record and involvement is at best very tenuous. It bears stating that if the ICT sector has grown in leaps and bounds, then it is down to the hard work of several people who dedicated their lives and efforts towards bringing us this far. This, our country Ghana, will be liberated. And they should seek to be on the favorable side of history. The recent brouhaha about upweighting the use and application of enhanced computer systems in our workflows, practices, and lifestyles is needless. Some have opted to term the drive a digitalization drive. I'm not the type to be taken in by words or huge catchy phrases, as I focus on the substance of the program in terms of its objectives, its mode of delivery, its outcomes, and the impact at cost-effective levels. That is what matters. On our part as a government, we upgraded the metro fiber link between the ministries in Accra and built a backbone fiber optic cable of over 1,000 kilometers in length, including the eastern corridor from Ho to Boko fiber link, with a link from Yendi to Tamale. This has given high-speed internet service to people in that corridor. Our choice of the Eastern Corridor, which is an underserved area, was instructive, as it ingrained our commitment to social justice and equity. We also deployed 4G LTE technology with 120 base stations across the country and built a Tier 3 National Data Center with a 600 rack space data center in Accra and a 45 rack space backup in Kumasi. It is important to appreciate that all digital software require an underlying infrastructure to allow for connectivity, storage, security, and analytics. In simple terms, without the underlying infrastructure, systems and applications cannot talk to each other to support decision making. We also initiated various projects under the e-government project to digitalize documents and procedures in Parliament and the judiciary, amongst others. I keep wondering, rather curiously, why this government will not implement our policy of disallowing state institutions from investing in building separate data centers while we have space in the National Data Center. The history of port automation in Ghana perhaps gives a most vivid illustration of how illusory the desire to appropriate gains in technology uptake for partisan gain is. That process began under the Rawlings administration in the late 90s with the policy of the Ghana National Single Window Program, which culminated in the rollout of the GCNet system under President Kufuor in 2002 as the first phase. In 2015, the second phase commenced with a number of notable achievements. A fully automated pre-arrival assessment reporting system in 2015, which reduced the time for import classification from 2 weeks to 48 hours, and in some cases even shorter. The launch of a fully electronic payment system for the import declaration form IDF, which meant that importers could purchase these forms via credit card, mobile money, or bank draft, was launched. The introduction of Ghana's first Cash Express card for payment of customs duty on the Ghana Trading Hub was also completed. Other digital applications like the Trade Information Portal, Export Tariff Classification Tool, Duty Calculation Tool, Price Valuation Tool, and a fully functional help desk were in place. Following these interventions, a roadmap for full paperless goods clearance was developed and launched in June 2016, which among others would ensure that between 2017 and 2020, this would have been achieved. Automation of internal workflow for each governmental agency, automation of the customs long room, introduction of paperless exchange control forms, introduction of paperless manifest and VA plies, among others. My administration and the ones before us invested heavily in this drive.
Okay. Edem, welcome back. And to all our viewers, wherever you are, we are still live on the ground show. So here we are. His Excellency John Dramani has outlined a number of infrastructure within the digitalization process that the NDC government started. Now, Dr. Baumia came up with his own narrative, which seems to show that it is just within the last, let me say, 5 years that they put all these things in place. Is it that the NDC did not tell our story?
The NDC told our story, but I must admit that there were some shortfalls with how we told the story. Some of this information you have mentioned and the president mentioned yesterday are contained in the Green Book, but people don't know. We had a whole Green Book website and social media page detailing some of this information. I must also admit that we may or we did not, we were fighting also against a large chunk of the media, the rented media.
Exactly.
And so we could not get them to tell our story the way it ought to be told. I'm not in Ghana at the moment, but can you believe that today, the monitoring done by my friends I asked a couple of guys to monitor the media, and they told me that most of those media houses that discuss Dr. Baumia's lies about digitization, today, some were discussing a goosey soup in Nigeria and all that. They refused to discuss the speech that the President Mahama made yesterday. So you can see how and who our enemies are, the kind of people we are fighting. Shockingly, they didn't discuss it because they know that the truth has been spoken. They know that the people whose pocket they are in will be exposed if they discuss this. And so they decided not to discuss. That is why I keep saying that we in the NDC must take the battle for 2024 truly as a do or die and battle it out for our lives. Because we have people who are appalled. I go to all these media houses, sometimes after the shows, the host will be complaining to you. Then I ask them, but you are the same journalists who don't talk about the negatives in this government. Some say they are afraid. Genuinely, some are afraid. But some are also people who are in the pocket of government officials, and so they cannot espouse the negativities that or inefficiencies of the government. So these are some of the things. We told our story. We could have done better with telling the story, but we also fought against the enemies in the media who did not want Ghanaians to know the truth. People have suggested, I am not a tribalist, and I'm not making that argument myself, but people have actually suggested that one of the reasons why some key players in the media hate John Mahama so much is simply because of where he's coming from. Some could not just understand why it should be a young man from Bole Bamboy, a Gonja, that should be ruling over them. Like I've said, that is what some people think. I want to believe that many of these journalists are just bots. I'm not a tribalist, I'm not advancing that argument. But sometimes, if you look at the level of hatred, pretense, hypocrisy of some of these media players, you are tempted to believe in this postulation that indeed they just hate the man because he's from a certain part of the country. Because after this powerful lecture yesterday, you couldn't discuss this today. Many of them pretended that nothing had gone on. Please. And let me use this opportunity to tell the NDC people that is why we have to learn to stick together and fight together, because we are fighting against a group of people that are national tragedy, also people who are ready to use money and power to do anything to remain in power. We must not allow that to happen.
Well, not to drift from what you just said, but if you look at it, I think it's a confirmation of the assertions that you are making about the media against the NDC or against John Dramani Mahama. Today, as we speak now, all the people who were making noise, who were leading the crusades, they've all been given appointments under the MPP government. Just think about Kwame Sefakai. He has been appointed onto a board. Think about this Lotto forecaster on Good Evening Ghana, as General Mosquito describes him, Paul Adam Autry, appointed as a chairman of aviation. And
Yeah.
so you see a lot of them. Just go back to the Joy FM news room, and then you see what's his name, Osabote. He's a PRO in one place. Yeah. So you see all the big players in the media front. They've all been given appointment by this current government. So it tells us that yes, indeed, whatever they were doing it in the interest of Nana Akufo-Addo and his people to bring them into office. But now let's go back and look at some of the projects that Dr. Baumian mentioned that they have started it. For instance, he mentioned the issue of people applying for passports in the comfort of their rooms, which is a bit strange to me, because when they launched the issue of this the passport application online, it was done by Honorable Hanatete, then Minister, Foreign Affairs Minister. And today they are telling us that you can apply for a passport in the comfort of your room. What other activities did the NDC carry out in this area of digitalization?
You said it's right about the media. And I only want to re-echo that. Like I've said before on another platform, appointing people from the media into government is not a point. There's nothing wrong with it. But it is how they are appointed, and they simply cannot speak the truth, and they keep using their platforms to peddle falsehood and entrench this rule, this regime, this sad sack government. That is selfishness. And so Adumochiri is board chairperson, pretends to be neutral despite his appointment. Meanwhile, we all know you are not. Same way for Sefaka and Co. And so that point must be made. Now, when it comes to digitization The first point I want to make is that throughout the world, especially in Africa, there is growth in digitization. This evening, I'm just from a lecture where I was informed that between 2000 and 2020, in 20 years, Africa recorded the highest growth in internet and mobile phone penetration of over 60%. Africa. So digitization is like a current trend in the world. And so no country must be left behind.
Mhm.
In fact, as we speak, Ghana is left behind. One, digitization is not an event, it's a process.
Yes, yes.
Two, digitization is not an end in itself, it is only a medium, a channel. So if you are failing to solve the basic economic challenges, digitization cannot be the answer to the economy, because what you are doing is that you are only digitizing hunger and empty stomach. And I will explain. So if today I go to a shop to buy a bag of cement, now in 2016, I could buy that bag of cement for 30 cedis or 30 cedis or 27 Ghana cedis. Now, if I buy a bag of cement for 27 Ghana cedis, and if I buy a bag of cement for 27 Ghana cedis in 2016, then in 2021, I'm supposed to buy that bag of cement for 62 cedis. But at the shop, I cannot pay with cash, or because of the availability of mobile money, I'm supposed to transfer the money to the shop owner. It does not make any difference that it is no more 27 cedis, it is now 62 cedis. The only thing that is different is that the medium of payment
Payment.
has changed. And in fact, it is even more now expensive, because if I'm paying 62 cedis on a bag, I'm supposed to pay about 62 pesos charges on it.
On it.
The one from whom I'm buying the cement, when he is going to withdraw his money, he's also going to withdraw at a charge. So there has even been two losses
2 losses.
because of the extra charges. And so you cannot come and tell us that the solution to economic challenges is digitization. It is not. It cannot be. Now, the digitization that you are talking about did not start from the MPP government. Like President Mahama said, even President Kufuor, President Rawlings, President Kufuor,
Rollins.
they all made investments into it. There is no country in the world today where typewriters are common. You know that.
Yeah.
Why? Because as times are changing and advanced technology is coming, we realize that typewriter, which was hard to press, was making so much noise, too much big. It made way for portable desktops or computers. Today, somebody is holding a computer that is as small as my phone. There are even computers that are foldable. Who knows the transition? Because even in the past, you saw how big computers were. Laptops, when it came first, it was so big that when you are carrying heavy load. Why? Is it Dr. Baumia that went to their companies telling them to reduce? So there are some things that just because of nature, because of globalization, because of growth in the world, these things are changing. Baumia cannot claim credit for mobile money. It was there before, they came way before. But even then, issue about online application. Almost every country is moving into online applications for schools, for passport and everything. And in Ghana, it started under John Mahama and the NDC. When Honorable Hannah Sewatete, she's fair, but she's not Sawabroni. Uncle Hannah Sewatete was Minister for Foreign Affairs. She launched this online application for passports. And so, how is it possible that Dr. Baumia and the MPP are now claiming credit for it? Again, all these things we are talking about, most of them run on data, and it runs on a certain network. And so, what is the NPP's contribution to the debate with regards to these network issues? Under John Mahama and the NDC, 1,000-kilometer worth of fiber optic network, and that is the biggest investment in that sector any government has ever made. From Accra to Boku, covering about 6 regions. Now, with the division of the regions, we can say about 9 or 10 regions was laid. Now, imagine that you even have mobile money, or you have online application for passport on your phone, and yet you are in village or you are in a community that cannot access internet. How useful is that application?
Next to nothing.
It is nothing. And so you ought to look at how did the government invest in pushing these network issues to the various communities. NDC did all of that. And so we laid that. Apart from that, 4G. Now, I always want to explain 4G to people, that those especially listening to us in Ghana, pick your phones. You realize that at the top, where the SIM card is written, as the network is written, whether MTN or whichever, Vodafone, Airtel, whichever, Kasapa, Glo, Airtel, you either see E, LTE, G, 3G or 4G. With some new smartphones now, people are even seeing 5G.
Yeah.
It is the NDC government that made it possible for you to have that 4G, which means faster browsing without it being delayed. We invested in community information centers so that you and I, who come from villages, families, where we cannot afford to buy laptops and smartphones for our children, when they need to do anything online, they can walk into the community center. You know why? Internet cafes have phased out. And after internet cafes phased out, until you have your own smartphone or your own laptop with internet, you cannot access anything online, especially in these rural communities. And so that was the investment. Over 70 communities were connected with this modern day computering system and all that. So, my brother, we have done a lot of work in that regard. The NPP cannot take credit for these things. Now, before I even conclude on that, let me also say that digitization is important. Digitalization is also important. They are two different things. However, that cannot be a substitute for sound economic policies. My grandmother in the village in Hife, my auntie in Huti, my friend in Impaha, number 4, Sherry in the Central Gonja district, my brother in Yankpanduri, who cannot afford 3 square meals a day, with or without digitization, that problem cannot be solved. And so let us pay attention to the key things that matter to the young people of this country. The key things that matter to the ordinary life of the Ghanaian. We are looking for an all-inclusive government, an all-inclusive development, a development that whoever you are, wherever you are, it doesn't matter what you worship, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter your social status, you will be able to benefit, my brother, from development. So when you go on your high-end road, mount platforms in Ashesi, talking about digitalization, and how you have enhanced payment platforms and all of that. If you have not solved the problem, the key issues of hunger, depression, unemployment, despair, hopelessness, and the challenges of corruption, these issues will mean nothing to the people. To conclude, the NDC launched the paperless system at the port. When they came to change it in a certain way and said they were now relaunching, as we speak today, the biggest question is, the reason why the NDC launched it was that we wanted to reduce corruption and make clearing cheaper. But today, what are the clearing agents saying? They are complaining that they are paying far more now than they ever did. And so the point is that digitization is not an end in itself. If you cannot solve the basic problems in the economy, you will be exposed. A trotro driver paying for fuel with mobile money or even Visa card does not change the fact that he's paying today more than double what he used to pay for under the NDC government. It doesn't matter the means by which he is paying. What matters is the cost at which it comes to him. And so if I walk into a filling station, whether I'm paying with credit card, Visa card, with my bank account, those are not the things for a government to brag about. Government ought to be bragging about the quality of life. Quality of life. How has the standard of living improved? What has happened to issues of security? Digitization and digitalization is helping countries to track criminals, helping them to fight crime and insecurity. But in our situation, digitization even being there, the way they talk about it, crime is on the increase. A recent report shows that between January to June 2021 alone, violent crime had increased by over 21%. And so you ask yourself, what is the benefit of the digitization as they are seeking to portray it? Solve the basic problems that confront the people of Ghana. And that is what we want to see. Jerome.
Oh, but
Yes,
Adam, before we even get there, why will you take a whole vice president to go and talk about this issue? And then they took almost all the networks to broadcast what they have done. When the people on the ground who should be feeling the impact of it and knowing what they have done, I've not even seen it. Why would you take a whole vice president?
Jerome, when you put forward a certain gentleman, made so much noise about him, made him appear as the economic messiah, the solution to all of Ghana's economic problems, and he failed, what are you doing? He would find a way of getting comfort. And so I don't blame Dr. Baumia so much. I don't blame him, because maybe I will never be in his shoes, because I will never allow myself to be used to say the kind of lies that he said. But if I were in his shoes, God forbid though, either I will run to sports. Maybe if Black Stars wins, I will say I invested all my time trying to help Black Stars. Or I will go to Sekendi Hazake's ladies and said, I spent my time helping them. So they are success story, because the government is struggling to find an area where they have been successful. No area. Health, they have failed. Education, they have failed. Nothing is working in Ghana. Economy, they have failed. Unemployment. So he's looking for something to hang on to. And unfortunately for him, he chose digitization, maybe thinking that the people of Ghana are so gullible that will not understand. But he has been exposed. His lies are being exposed. The NDC's records are being brought forward. And so, Jerome, for the vice president, he's on an expedition. He's looking for what has been successful under the government to hang on to as he seeks to launch his presidential ambitions. There is simply nothing in the area of education they have failed. Mention one single area apart from corruption that is thriving. There is no other industry that is thriving in Ghana today apart from the lies and corruption industry.
Let me not take you off, but at least they have brought a free senior high school and everybody is enjoying it. The results are very perfect.
Jerome, the free senior high school, we need a whole day to talk about it.
Okay, if
It
you
is not
say
NDC. You recently heard parents going to other media houses pleading that Aban, Mumayentua, we want to pay, because parents are becoming more and more frustrated and depressed about the poor quality of education that is being given them, their children. Me, I have a younger sibling in one of the senior high schools, and yesterday I actually concluded that I need to work hard and raise enough money to bring her out of the country, even if it is Benin or Burkina Faso or Nigeria. I would want her to go and pursue some secondary education there, because the whole time today, green, off, on, traffic lights, you go to, sometimes they go to school in the middle of the semester, the term, they come and tell them that you are supposed to break. Nothing is working. That thing is not working. And so I am concerned about the quality of education that my younger sibling is receiving. Many parents are also concerned, and so they are all running away from it. If it was working, why was Napo lobbying to be energy minister? Because they know the danger that they have plugged Ghanaians in. The only thing that has saved this government with regards to the collapse of the educational system is COVID. Because with COVID, they use that as an excuse to tell people that it is because of COVID that we are asking the children to go home, to be this. They cannot even feed the children in school. They can't feed them. That is how bad it gets. And so, Jerome, what is working in this country? Nothing. Apart from corruption, lies, and the family and friends industry that Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia are championing.
thank you very much. We are running out of time, but I think we are very grateful to have you this evening, and to all our viewers up there. Don't go away. We just have one sound bite to show, and thereafter we will take the closing remarks from no other person but our Deputy National Youth Organizer, Honorable Comrade Edem Agbana.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration has launched the online passport application service in line with Ghana's e-government strategy. The service is seen as a solution to the existing difficulties bedeviling passport acquisition in the country. It is also expected to ensure efficiency and reliability in passport acquisition.
The online passport application project was introduced in 2014 through the National Information Technology Agency's pilot. The introduction of the Ghana biometric passport replaces all non-biometric passports by the end of 2017. The launch is a culmination of the process adopted by the government to reform the delivery of travel documents for Ghanaians across the country. According to the technical advisor of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Ambassador Leslie Cushion, who doubles as the chairman of the Online Passport Application Project Committee, applicants can make payment for the process through EcoBank, Zenith Bank, GCB Bank, mobile money transfer via Vodafone, MTN, and Airtel, as well as their payment cards. Foreign Minister Ms. Hannah Tete said the system will help the ministry deliver the highest levels of customer integrity and international standing of the Ghana passport, while improving on the security and issuance system.
Depending on a range of factors, we are aiming for the following delivery deadline: a maximum of 15 working days for standard application, and then a maximum of 5 working days for express applications. In due course, it is anticipated that the ministry would introduce a premium 24-hour passport delivery service to cater for the Ghanaian business community and frequent flyers.
Ms. Teta said the service will be expanded across the country by establishing passport application centers in 6 regions.
And I'm optimistic that given the amount of progress that has been made in that regard already, very soon we should see that every region of the country has a passport application center.
The online application service is expected to help reduce the involvement of middlemen in the passport acquisition process, reduce typographical errors, and shorten the data capturing procedures, as well as speed up the workflow for the passport processing and improve passport service delivery.
Wonderful. She said it all. We mentioned what she said, and 2014, I don't know if the MPP was in power, it was the NDC that we had this thing on place. And even as we speak now, she mentioned the passport offices at all the regional centers, and I think it's running. But we'll just pray that the NDC will not wait for MP to come and tell us they established all the regional passport acquisition centers again. But in your speech, when you go on.
Clearly, they have been exposed. And this is sometimes that is why I blame the media. Because if I were a journalist, like I used to be, right then after Dr. Baumia says these things, I don't even have to wait for the opposition to come and challenge. You must dig and expose them. But now the media, they have a certain pretense. They will push the lies so much. After days, they will call you that, can you respond to this? Meanwhile, they know that the person is lying. So it has become the NDC version versus the MPP version. It must not be so. The media must be able to take position on critical matters like this. But here we are. And so their lies will continue to be exposed. Thereon, before we end, when you went on the break, I just saw something very interesting on Twitter.
Okay.
Our unofficial Prime Minister of the Republic of Ghana, a cousin of Akufo-Addo, Gabi Asare-Ochidako, who in the NPP circles, they call him God. They call him God. Has just tweeted something very interesting. Now, he's saying, he said this, I am against the anti-gay bill and not shy to say so. I am a proud Ghanaian who cherishes all that is good about our value systems, including tolerance. And I will defend the right of minorities everywhere. I have the courage and a sense of justice to disagree with the majority. Gabi Asare-Ochidako, President Akufo-Addo's confidant and cousin. Now, with all of this said, what is most important is, oh, you are displaying the tweet?
Yeah.
Very well. With all of this said, I say, look, Gabi is an ordinary citizen, as he wants us to believe. But the most important person that must speak on the bill is his cousin, the president, his uncle. If Gabi is against it and he's shying away, he's not shying away from saying so, the president is under obligation to tell us what he also thinks about the bill. I will use your platform to call on Akufo-Addo, Dr. Baumia. The two of them must make their decisions known so that Ghanaians will know where they belong with regards to this bill. It's as simple as that.
Thank you very much. What an interesting conclusion to our discussion this evening. And we're very grateful to you for making time to be part of us. And I know definitely The issue of the free senior high school, he said, is another topic for another day. We will definitely come around again and invite you to share your thoughts on it, and then we put it together and then see what the Ghanaian is feeling and what we expected and what we are going to see come NDC government, God willing, 2024. So to our viewers, wherever you find yourself, we're very grateful for joining us this evening. And come Thursday, once again, we will be back on the ground show. Never change your dial. Always remember to be part of us. And then we get you the right facts that will let you understand whatever stories you get from the other side. We bring our version, and then you are the best judge. Thank you once again, and have a very great evening.
NDC miawezo alada nizongo kamami ingeleko Ghana bebia
ayikola putu sotupu mahani mahina anu hurira
translate
atemuri inna anu nigira
Abana mama hama misrau Nipoto misrau mama Ogana matu